This is the Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. Watch films with us. Yeah, so this week, we're going to have some circus music, hopefully, if I can find some. Do you know any circus tricks, Gavin?
I can juggle.
Go on then.
Only 3 balls, though. I haven't got anything.
Juggle anything, the first things you can see. Go. Go.
I got 3 things. Here we go. Ready. Here we go.
Yeah!
There you go.
Welcome to the Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. I am Trevor Webb, and this juggling motherfucker is Gavin Rye. Gavin Rye, say hi.
What?
Howdy. That was some mighty fine juggling you had.
It was alright, wasn't it? Not bad for... I don't know if I've ever juggled like 3 different things. I always have 3 things the same. That's my rule with juggling. 3 things the same, or more if you're better at juggling. But then if you're better at juggling, you can probably juggle things that aren't the same.
Probably.
What have you been up to, Trevor?
Well, the other day, I got stabbed, Gavin.
That's terrible.
Yeah. As you probably know, there's been a lot of clown sightings, haven't there, in King's Lynn?
Yeah, big news.
They're everywhere. It's like a festation. Anyway, I was out walking Storm, and I got jumped. Stabbed right in the leg. Like, eh.
Oh, God.
And guess what the motherfucker was dressed as?
Clown.
No, he was dressed as Father Christmas.
Oh. Cool.
How have you been?
Fine. I saw a squirrel.
What happened with the squirrel?
Just saw one.
And then what?
Then I didn't see it anymore. Saw it and then I didn't. It went.
Where do you think it is now? What do you think it's doing?
Like getting what do they eat? An acorn ready for dinner tomorrow. Breakfast maybe.
Wow. That squirrel's life sounds about as exciting as yours. So this week, usually each week at the end of the podcast, we do a draw to find out what film we're going to watch and review the following week. But we didn't do that this week, did we, Gavin?
No.
What did we do?
Well, somebody gave us an envelope full of money, some Billy guy, and now we're doing his film.
Yeah, which I appreciated. I like money and I like exclusives, basically, which is what this is, Gavin. It's the only place in England, in the UK, I believe, to be able to watch this film. He gave us a link to watch the film. Not just us, not just me and you and Keir. He gave it to every single one of the Cool Kids Film Club Facebook page, which I think is pretty fucking awesome.
It's very nice of him, isn't it?
It bloody was. So he's also done us an introduction for the film. So we're going to cut to him now, and he can tell us what the film is. So over to Bloody Bill Pon.
What is this for again?
Cool Kids Cool Club Podcast.
Cool, what? Cool kid? What the? Who is this? And what kind of crap are we doing? What did you get me into that I have to go do this stuff? I'm not doing this crap. I don't even like being on this stuff. Hey man, what's up? Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. I can't tell you how much I love you guys. I tell everybody in the world how cool this Cool Club kids. Oh boy. Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. That's the stupidest name I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm like, seriously, like Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. Were they high? This is... What's up, everybody? This is Bloody Bill, a.k.a. Billy Pond, out here in West Texas. And I guess where I'm at. I'm on, if you're watching this, you know, I'm on the Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. Now, that's a tongue twister, but I think it's a great name, and I'm glad you guys come up with that. It's like the most awesome name I've ever heard of. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. Now, what we're going to talk about today is the guys are going to review my film, Circus of the Dead. Okay? Circus of the Dead, starring Bill Oberst Jr., Parrish Randall. It's kind of becoming a cult hit and doing pretty good. I'm still broke like a pauper, but that's okay. It's not about money, right? It's about what you do for people. But anyway, we shot this film back in 2013. We shopped it for a long time. I had a lot of offers, and we ended up doing self-distribution in 2017 when we released it. But we did it on our own, and of course we had zero budget to do it on or whatever. And then the aggregator company that was supposed to help indie filmmakers not get screwed us, went bankrupt. And now, thankfully, the good folks at Dread Central, or Epic Pictures Dread, they picked us up. So they got us out going to everybody. They're promoting it everywhere, and now we're seeing it on Amazon Prime and all this. Now, I think we still need to get it in the UK. And people ask all the time, are you going to get it to the UK? It's like, I want it there so bad, but it's up to the company's got to do it. I'm just the filmmaker. But I really appreciate it, guys. This film was a labor of love. And I know everybody says that. Unlike Chinese buffets, where I think quantity over quality, it's the other way around when I do films. It's more about the quality, not the quantity as far as that. I really want a good film that all the actors, the crew, everybody that worked on the film, including myself, can have something we're proud of. And we're all very, very, very proud of this movie, and I hope you guys enjoy this movie. Anybody that checks this movie out, always remember to watch past credits, because I always like to hide bonus credit scenes under there. And enjoy. Trevor, thank you for having me on, and I want you guys to enjoy Circus of the Dead.
So that was Billy Pon. First of all, thank you very fucking much. That was fucking awesome of you to do that. But, I mean, I did notice. Did you notice, Gavin? He was, I'd say, quite sarcastically positive about the name of the film club.
Was he ripping the piss out of us?
I think he might have been. Well, mostly you, because you're the one who named it. I mean, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel confused, because I don't recall coming up with such a bad name.
Bad name? You're on Billy's side now, are you? You're jumping ship.
I don't pick sides.
Well, I'll have you know, I named this fucking film club, and it's a great fucking name. Easy to remember, rolls off the tongue. So there. Welcome to the Cool Kids Film Club. Fuck. Welcome to the Cool Kids Film Club. Cup. Welcome to the Cool Kids Film Cup. Fuck. Welcome to the Cool Kids Film Club. Who fucking named this? Was it you?
No.
Who named this shit?
Be you, I would expect.
So, the film, it's difficult giving it a timestamp on this film, isn't it? I mean, some places says it's a 2014 film, some places say 2020, depends where you're watching it. It was shot in 2013. It was shown publicly for the first time in 2014, I believe, and then they struggled getting distribution for it. I don't know why. It's a decent film. It's shot well. I don't understand the distribution issues. My only understanding of it, and this isn't from Billy himself, this is just really my assumption, but I think it might have something to do with the name. Circus of the Dead. I mean, it's not very catchy, is it?
Seems fine to me.
Okay, but what's better? Circus of the Dead or Papa Corn's Circus of the Not Very Nice Super Naughty Clowns?
Not very nice, super naughty clowns. Yeah, that one.
Definitely. I mean, if you're a distribution company, straight away you're going to buy the rights to that, aren't you?
What would all the cool kids call that film, though?
Pakakakovnernska. That's a Richard Herring joke again, I believe.
We've got to rip him off now. That's kind of par for the course, isn't it?
Yeah, I've stolen your job. The Richard Herring thing. Chanel Ryan, do you know her?
Chanel Ryan? Yeah.
She plays the wife in the film, but she is best known as being a cheerleader in basketball.
Is she?
Yeah.
The talented Felon Girls appearing in their third Denslow Cup game.
She's in Hobgoblins 2, which I didn't hate.
Don't think I've seen it.
Have you seen Hobgoblins 1?
Don't think so.
You're missing out.
So the distribution facts, I was saying, basically they failed with distribution aspects, so they self-distributed in 2017. They then ran into some issues, I think, in some company that was doing something, I don't know exactly what. There was some issue.
Said the company went bankrupt.
Yeah, but they were self-distributing, so I don't fully understand. But then basically Dread Central have taken it up now and they're distributing it again. So hopefully, if everyone watching this from England can get onto Dread Central, email them. I'll put an email in the link if I remember. If I don't, message me. And email them and just tell them we want it. We want it here, Gavin.
Want it on the Blu-ray?
We do. We want that. We want it streamed. We just want to watch the film. I mean, we have seen the film, but we want to. You know what I mean.
Other people will watch it. Ability to make some of that green. That means money. That's gangster for money.
Isn't green weed?
Can mean a lot of things in the hood where I live.
What else can it mean, Gavin?
Like grass. I'm going down the green for a walk.
It can mean that.
My bread has gone green. That means it's gone off.
By the way, I should mention... Warning!
Oi, you! Do not watch this podcast if you have not already seen the film. It's a spoiler review. It contains spoilers. It's simple, really. If you want to come back on it, that's up to you. But don't watch this podcast until you've seen the film. Alright. Cool. Cheers, mate.
So tell us what the film is about and stuff.
The film is about Papa Corn. He is a clown who works at a circus. He's got some clown friends. And story-wise, very basic. He and his friends, they like a bit of murder, a bit of kidnapping, a bit of rape, a bit of all the bad stuff. And the film follows them as they go on a bit of a murdery spree. And we also get Donald Johnson. He's the father in a family. He's got 2 daughters, but he's a bit depressed, it seems. He's a little bit despondent. And he goes to take his daughters to the circus. He's told that he wins a prize. He has to give his address out to the clowns. They come and kidnap his family.
When they bring him up on the stage to give him the prize, what I liked is Papa Corn leans in and says, "I'm going to kill your whole family."
The hell, man? I'm going to kill your entire family.
What? I love that. Just says it and then nothing. It makes him doubt it.
Well, he's old Papa John. He's very forefront, isn't he? You can say a lot of things about him, but he's an honest chap.
I mean, that comes up a few times in the film, doesn't it? About his integrity and his word.
It does. Although, I mean, doesn't he say that he'll see his... I'm trying to think now, does he say he'll see his daughters again, or does he specifically say that he'll see them alive?
No, he specifically says you will see them again. And I don't know if I'm just a pessimistic bastard, but as soon as he said that, I assumed he meant dead. If I was Donald there, I'd have been like, alive? I'd want clarification on that. Thing is, throughout the whole film, I think he was quite a man of his word. But then the post-credits scene, he says to Brandon, "I know I said you'd never see me again. I guess I lied." Or he says something along those lines. So maybe he's not so honest.
That isn't very nice of him, is it?
It's not. Do you know much about Brandon?
No way. Should I?
He is the guy from Dollboy. Which Dollboy, for anyone watching, is Billy Pond's first film. He made a 30-minute short film called Doll Boy, which you probably guessed because I've said it about 8 times. If you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. I will put the link down below.
And I like how that has a trailer for Circus of the Dead at the start of it.
Shot, obviously, way before they made Circus of the Dead. It looked like if me and you were to make a film, Gavin.
In comparison to the film, 'cause the feature definitely a lot more polished than the trailer. When you did bring up that, we'll be doing this, I expected a lot lower quality, production value wise, but it looks really good.
It does. One small gripe I had about it, though, this is coming to that whole do we be honest thing, do we tell him how it is? You know, some of the edits and some of the sound was a bit odd. There are a few moments in here where I thought they were using your usual microphone because there's a lot of background noise, but it would only come in halfway through a scene. The first time you see Papa Corn, he's walking up to his trailer, and then he comes up and he opens a door. And the volume only kind of fades in as he's approaching the door to get the sound effect of them opening the door.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, happened a few times. And music and stuff as well would just suddenly cut. I noticed. It was a bit strange.
What were your thoughts on the rest of the circus? Do you think everybody was in on it? Something I wondered when, because they're living in a little trailer, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like within that trailer, he's got a room with people tied up and stuff. Is everybody on the circus in on it, or are these clowns rogues?
It's never explored really in the film, is it? The room that he seems to keep the people in does seem to be soundproofed because you don't hear the screaming until he opens the door, and then they're all screaming. I like that scene as well because he goes in and he starts screaming as well, at them, which I don't know. I like that.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd need it soundproofed regardless if all of the rest of the circus were on, just in case police ever came about.
This is true. I don't know. I mean, my gut says they probably know they're no good and up to some shenanigans, but I don't think they're like part of it. I don't think they join them on the hunt with their Loterita cards.
Ooh, look at you.
Do you know what a Loterita card is, Gavin?
It's like bingo, but in Mexico.
It is. It's almost identical to that. But basically it's done with, you have a big board of pictures and then you have a deck of cards. And that deck of cards has pictures on it. But the cards get played, and if you match the picture, you put a bean on your board. But the clowns play it a little bit differently. Do you want to tell us how the clowns play it?
They go out and murder people. I don't approve, personally. It's just me, though.
And I'm on the fence. I mean, they're having a good time, aren't they? I mean,
I suppose they are, aren't they? Yeah. So, I mean, we should get on with, like, the plot. They go and get Don's wife, Tiffany.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, you're wowing.
Whoa. I'd like to talk about the Loteria cards a little bit more, because this was one of my favorite aspects of it. As you've just said, the they're going about killing people, but they're not just blindly killing people. They've got this deck of cards, and in order to kill somebody, they almost have to have a reason to. Like, they have to match it with one of the cards in the deck. And this is evident in the scene at the petrol station where the little girl comes out and waves at Papa Corn. And he's like looking through the deck of cards, trying to find a card that matches her so that he can kill her, but can't find one. So essentially lets her drive off. I liked that.
Didn't take that in, but yep.
And that is also, I imagine, why Papa Corn doesn't kill Donald, because there wasn't a card for Donald. There was a card for the wife and a card for the two girls, but not a card for Donald.
I think he's already got a plan for Donald anyway. I mean, it's clear that they planned this whole thing with...
But not to kill him.
Yeah, not to kill him, but I don't think it's because they didn't have a card.
Yeah, but if they had a card for him, they would have killed him.
Say so.
I mean, the only people they kill in the film are people who match for cards or people who give them no choice. Like, I can't think of anything.
Like the guy in the gas station who comes out with a shotgun.
Yes, perfect example.
And who's an absolutely dreadful shot.
So, what were you going on about before I dragged you back to Loteria?
Well, actually, I'm going to go back because when they take somebody out of... What is his name? Bradley?
Brandon.
It's the first scene we see with the effects where they lob off his hand and cauterize it with a blowtorch, and then did they just duct tape on somebody else's hand? Is that what I saw?
I thought that was his hand.
I might be wrong, but I think they swap it. I think they've got, because you see a few body parts around their little area, and I think they get somebody else's hand and tape it onto his, which I enjoyed.
I like that more, so I hope that is the case.
And then I love how they make him part of the show, so everybody thinks that he's in on it. They've literally got him in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to ask Billy this, actually. I feel like he's dressed up as Jerry Lewis in The Day the Clown Cried, which is a very well-known, not a lost film, but Jerry Lewis, he was like this American comedian back in 60s and 70s, and he made a film about a clown at Auschwitz that would help children into the gas chamber, like try and give them a good time before they were getting put in the gas chamber. And he made this film and then decided, I don't actually want to release this. All this a bit touchy. And it's kind of, with film fans, it's like the great lost film because it's away in a vault and it's been put there for, I think, 20 years.
Interesting. You were mentioning the circus show, the clown show at the circus. What did you think of their performance?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I love the way they incorporate a victim into it, and all the crowd just thinking he's in on it. He's got his mouth gagged, but the gag has like got a frowny face on it, and they're beating him with sticks. And what else do they do to him in that first one?
Not much. They just kind of electrocute him with a cattle prod, I believe.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. Which weirdly, like going back to our last episode where we mentioned Wizard of Gore, that's kind of what that's about. That's about a magician who brings up victims and like saws them in half on stage, unbeknownst to the audience. So a little connection there to our last episode.
Regardless, if I was there, I don't think I'd be laughing at that show.
Do you not ever watch any of like old like Charlie Chaplin films and Abbott and Costello and all of that? They're all comedy films and they are based around comedic slapstick violence.
Yeah, but comedic violence. There was nothing comedic about these shows, in my opinion. They literally just dragged someone from the audience, pulled him down, and then started beating him with clubs and then a cattle prod. And then they go, "Yay, we're done." Where's the humour, Gavin? Why is it funny?
When they hit him.
I don't get it. But we should
Right.
introduce the clowns. We have Noodle Dome. He's the big guy who likes to hit people with a mallet. We have Mr. Blister. He's the one who's always smoking. And then we have Jumbo, who is the little guy.
Little person.
Little person. And of course, the leader, Papa Corn. What did you think of the rest of the clowns? We've talked about Papa Clown, but Papa Clown, Papa Corn.
Papa Corn. I like all of them. They're nice. There's a nice variety. Which you need with a posse. Got a wee one, a big one, and a smoky one.
Yeah.
Does take some. Papa Corn does take some beating.
Yeah, Papa Corn steals every scene he is in. From the very first scene all the way to the end. He's in.
Brilliantly played by Bill Oberst Jr.
Yes, we should probably say his name. Brilliant. I mean, I'm not sure I've seen anything else he's in, but he's been in a lot of other independent horror films and things, apparently.
Yeah, he's good in. He's been in a couple of the Moorhead and Benson films. He's in Resolution and Synchronic. From them, those two have made some great films with Resolution, Synchronic, Spring, and what's the other one? Endless. Fantastic films. And he's also in the absolutely dreadful Free From Hell. Rob Zombie's Free From Hell, which is a complete stinker.
I've not seen Free From Hell. I did like House of a Thousand Corpses, and I loved Devil's Rejects.
I enjoy both of those, but Free From Hell is dreadful. And in fact, I made a note at one point that this film is everything that Free From Hell wishes it was.
There are a few similarities between this and the Firefly trilogy. Is it Firefly? Is that the family? The Firefly family?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they have the same kind of feel, don't they? This film and those.
Yeah, definitely, because Rob Zombie is going for the same kind of feel that Billy's going for in here, with like definitely like a 70s grindhouse feel.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, after getting his address, they obviously go to the house. And what happens at the house, Gavin? What's the wife doing?
The wife is sleeping with the sheriff.
Sleeping?
Doing the business.
She's doing business with him.
Dirty business.
Like washing stuff, laundry.
No, the dirty business. The in out.
In out.
You know what I mean? Yeah, the old in out. You know what I mean?
Horizontal dancing.
I wouldn't put it like that, but sure.
Yeah, she is. With who? With Ronald?
No, not with Ronald. With the sheriff of the small town.
What a hoe bag!
And old Papa Corn, he has a little watch from outside. Not just a watch. He touches himself, Trevor. I don't like to say things like this, but he touches himself inappropriately while he's watching.
Come to Papa.
And weirdly screams really loud, yet nobody hears him.
Rolls all over the table, window. I loved this scene, to be fair. I can forgive the screaming and it not being heard. I can forgive it. It was brilliant. His Yeah, that may have been the best wanking scene I've ever seen in a film. Can you think of a better one?
American Pie, off the top of my head. Second one, isn't it? Where he's having a wank and he's got the super glue, thinks it's lube, and he's got his hand stuck on his willy, and he comes out the window, doesn't he? And everyone sees. Ugh.
It's very funny, Gavin, but it's not as good as this, is it?
I could come up with some good ones, but I'd need a while.
Oh well. Well, we'll just have to give the award to Papa Corn. What do you think of that name, Papa Corn?
It's good. It sounds a bit like popcorn, doesn't it?
Popcorn? I didn't even think of that.
Did you not? That was my immediate thought.
What I thought of immediately was that he must be some kind of offspring between members of Papa Roach and Corn. And they had a baby, and that's Papa Corn. That's what I thought, because I'm funny, and I have a funny brain.
I think you should leave now.
Papa Corn, Papa Roach and Corn, Gavin. It's very funny. It's even funnier when I have to explain it.
They're your two favourite bands, aren't they?
I like Corn, especially the early stuff, but not so much Papa Roach.
What was Papa Roach's big one?
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.
That's exactly how that
I
goes.
thought of that, and for some reason I thought it was Corn.
Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I am bleeding.
Oh, they don't say the F word, do they?
They do.
No, not for me. So yeah, after this, what does Papa Corn do?
Well, after killing the wife and the sheriff, the kids come home and all the clowns are lined up on the sofa. And as the kids walk in, they shout, "Surprise!" with the dead mother's arms wailing in the air.
That was good. I think there's some party poppers as well, isn't there?
I don't know. I didn't see the party poppers, but I hope so.
There's definitely something like thrown into the air. I don't know. Maybe they weren't party poppers, but they throw some like glitter into the air. I'd say that that's some dark stuff, but there's a lot more dark stuff in this.
Yeah. So yeah, they kill them. They kidnap the kids, put them in bags, take them away, and then they kidnap Donald and basically turn Donald into his new little toy.
Is it after they've taken him away that they start taunting him with his wife's severed head?
Back in the trailer, because he's tied up and Brandon is there as well next to him. They're both tied up together, and Papa Corn has his severed head. His severed head, her severed head, and fucks the severed head.
Not just that. I was looking at that for a while, thinking it's just something not right with the head. It looks a bit off. Yeah, it's almost as if the effects people couldn't do a mouth. And then I realised they've sewn her vagina on where her mouth was.
Yeah, which I didn't notice watching the film, but I watched something, I think it was on YouTube, which was where they showed the film originally at some film convention thing, and they had the head on the table, and I noticed it at that point. So yeah, you see it quite well in there.
Probably could have done with a close-up right at the start of that to make it look more clear, because I was thinking, that's a really bad effect on that head. It looks like it's got eyes, but there's no mouth. There's some sort of weird thing there. And then there's another shot, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's her vagina. I feel like I shouldn't say that I like that scene, but I can't think of another scene in film history where somebody has sex with somebody's head that has their vagina sewn onto their mouth. It's got to be a first.
I'll gladly say that I liked that scene. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
It's at this point where you realise that Mr. Pon he's going for extreme, and I think he quite succeeds.
Well, yes. During the playing with Donald and Donald's game and things, there are a few scenes before this, but there's quite a long montage scene of chaos and debauchery that they get up to. One of my favourite moments of this is where Noodle Dome is playing with a baby. That was a cute scene, wasn't it? That was nice.
That was good.
He's got the baby in his hands. You see his soft side, his gentle side. He's like playing with it, chucking it up in the air a little bit, and he just chucks it on at the ground. And did you notice that the baby still had its umbilical cord coming out of it?
I did, yes.
Yeah. Which implies that it was ripped out of somebody's stomach.
I think I'd have liked to have seen it come out, though. But then again, it is in a montage, and I think it works in that setting.
What did you think of the montage overall?
I liked it. I thought it was good. I always like films that are set in like one night, like one crazy night films. And this little montage certainly shows one crazy night. They're having a good time.
It could have been a whole film, just this one night, easily. My problem with it was because before the montage scene, we get the scene in the petrol station where I keep almost calling him Papa John, pizza guy. Papa Corn forces Ronald to kill the clerk at the petrol station after Papa Corn does a few other things to her. But I quite like this scene as well. It showed the struggle of morality somewhat. Ronald struggling with it and not wanting to do it, but having to do it to save his kids. I felt that was lacking somewhat in the actual montage scene because you didn't see the struggle so much. You just saw the carnage.
What came first? I mean, it's the
Petrol station scene first.
It's a gas station. We're in America here.
Gas station.
But no, I think if you establish that first, I think because there's a few shots in the montage, isn't there, where Ronald's being made to do stuff?
Yes. It just wasn't vocalized. I would have liked a bit more vocalized kind of.
I think that, I mean, that's because they tell him, like, we're going to play a game. If you want to see your kids again, you're going to have to do everything you're told. And I think that's a good way of showing that it's not just some one-off. It's not like a couple of things even. It's a whole night of shit that he's being forced to endure. Yeah, I think that works quite well to show that it's a prolonged thing, not just a couple of events.
The thing is, the montage scene doesn't even start until we're about an hour and 10 minutes into the film. So, to me, it felt a bit rushed. Because the montage scene is about 6-7 minutes, I believe. And that's just pure carnage through that. But that could have been spread out a bit more, like said a minute ago, made into a whole film almost. But it certainly could have been expanded more, and more of the morality side of it could have been put in.
That was all right. I'd like to mention, actually, in the gas station, what's the smoky clown called? I never got any of their names. I don't know.
Mr. Blister.
Yeah, Mr. Blister's on an arcade machine. It was a very strange moment because a friend of mine, Alan, you know him.
I do.
We had this whole stage where we were playing lots of arcade games at mine back when we were younger on an emulator, and he used to play that very game, which I forget what's called in this. Oh, I wrote it down as well. Gal's Panic, where you have to kind of uncover parts of a nude woman. And I sent that picture to Alan, and he was very happy to see that his favourite arcade game was shown in a film. I quite like that clown as well, especially in this scene, because all of this carnage is going on around him, and he's just so, I guess, accustomed to it that he's just busy having a smoke, playing his game. No interest in the murder going on around him.
So after the montage stuff, we get the scene where they're pulled over by the cops. They pull up, I liked, outside a cinema. And did you notice what films the cinema was showing?
Yes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Jaws.
Jaws. Yeah. Which I didn't notice a Jaws reference, but definitely
definitely a Texas
one
Chainsaw
of the
Massacre.
Yeah, definitely one running after with a chainsaw.
Well, I believe Billy is from Texas, isn't he? And I guess the films are shot in Texas. So I reckon he probably likes that film.
Quite possibly.
Oh, I'd like to mention a bit in the montage actually that I loved. There's a bit where they've skinned somebody's face and they've got Don's head like looking at it. And just as they're skinning his face, he's just there going, ah! I found that highly amusing.
You're a sick, sick boy, Gavin, right?
Well, yes, I am.
Are there any other scenes before we start getting into like final third stuff?
Yeah, I don't know if it comes up in the final third, but there's the coroner, which overall the acting's pretty good in the film, but this coroner, he's not so good.
I think in most independent films, you're going to get a few people who aren't great. I mean, in Zombie Scumbags, which is a film was made quite a while ago, 2007, I believe, that had a guy in it. Can't remember his actual name, but he played Sedge. Do you remember? He was terrible.
Not as terrible as that guy who played... It's been too long. Who played...
Chuck?
Chuck! Yeah, what a wanker.
Chuck was good. I liked Chuck.
No.
So we get a scene where Donald seizes his opportunity to fight back, don't we? Papa Corn is raping a girl. This is just after the stuff with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference. That's a great chainsaw impression. Do your best chainsaw impression. Is it better than... That was good. Well done.
Thanks.
So yeah, Donald runs up to him, kicks him, takes his gun, shoots him, and then of course he only shoots him once, don't he? Because that's all you ever have to shoot someone in a film. If there's a guy, just shoot him once. That's enough. In the shoulder, not in the head, not in the heart. Shoot him in the shoulder. That'll kill him. 100% guarantee. So basically, he shoots him, and then they go off, don't they? And happily ever after.
Yep. End of the film. The bad guys are caught. Don's he's lost his wife, but she was cheating anyway. He gets his kids back, and they become surgeons. Both of them live a great life. And Don, he starts a business in Bristol. He moves to Bristol, in England. Yeah, and he starts putting on like bingo nights.
Loteria nights or actual bingo nights?
Actual bingo. It's the only thing that keeps his mind off of Mexican bingo.
Okay.
Wait a minute, no, that didn't happen at all. Something else happened. What is it?
I mean, I think I might have seen a different version of a film to you, because in the version I saw, he doesn't die. He stands up, blows a whistle. The other clowns come, chainsaw the girl in half, knock him out, and then he wakes up and they're doing another show and he's back in the hell world.
Yeah, he's back there. What did you think of effects? That's something I haven't mentioned yet. I thought there's some really great effects in this film.
Yes, definitely. I like the effects. The effects were good.
Lots of it as well. Good stuff.
So we're back in Hell World. Basically, Papa Corn states it's Donald's last performance. I was expecting him to have to do something, some big last act, and then it was just another show, pretty much the same as every other show. It was just being beaten on the ground a bit. Nothing extra happened. It seemed a bit of an anticlimax as his final hurrah.
Don't know what you expect.
For him to have to do something bigger. I don't know what he can do in front of an audience.
He's had quite a tough night.
Yeah, but
he's gone along with everything, so he's proved himself.
But the last thing he did was shoot Papa Corn in the shoulder. So you'd think there'd be some kind of repercussion for that, and he'd have to do one big act before being released.
I think Popcorn, he's all about the violence, and I think a bit of violence back on himself he's all right with. He's like, yeah, this guy, he's got some spunk. I'm all right with him. We'll do one more show, and then I'm going to fulfill my promise.
He does say that he was proud of him. It's interesting. Do you feel that, and this is, the kids die. Fun fact. Do you think they would have died if Ronald hadn't have tried to get away and hadn't have shot Ronald? Do you think the kids would have been fine and he would have been all right and there would have been a happy ending? Or do you think that's punishment for him?
No, I think they're dead. I think that's it. They're dead. They were dead from the start. Not literally, but they were going to be dead from the start. I don't think they killed them just because he ended up shooting Popcorn.
I agree. I think what convinced me was the fact that the kids were on one of the cards. So, I mean...
I know, I mean, why even bother attempting to frame him if you're not then going to kill the kids as well and make it look like he did that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the kids would definitely have died. Just thought it was something to bring up.
Do you think that... So at the very end, we see... we go to the car, he wakes up in the car, his kids are dead in the back, and the police are right there. Do you think if he didn't kill himself, he could have worked a way out of it? Or at least, No?
No.
They got to have CCTV in that gas station. I played it off as, I mean, they've killed everybody, so maybe they've gone out the back and sorted that.
You see it. There's a shot. I think it's Jumbo. He goes in the back and he gets the tape out for CCTV.
Okay. But I mean, they're all about town. Surely there's some CCTV.
But there would be CCTV of him doing all of this shit as well.
Yeah, but you're going to see some clowns with him making him. I doubt at any point he's like given the gun and given free rein to like, oh, go on, you go shoot him.
Yeah. There's nothing like that shown anyway. So, is there anything else you'd like to discuss, Gavin Rye?
Yes, the end credit song. Actually, there's another song.
There's plenty of songs in this that are brilliant.
There's a song where they're going to, I think it's when they're going to the petrol station. There's like a almost polka, it's like...
There were a few songs in the film that I had to ask Siri to recognize so I could look them up. I haven't actually looked them up yet, but I'm going to and see what else they've done. There are at least 3 brilliant songs in this.
I need to come up with a new system of things that I know I'm going to mention. I need to draw a box around them. Oh, well.
Well, indeed. So, each week, Gavin, we have the man in my shed. He's outside right now. I can't see him because it's dark and the curtains are drawn. And it's cold outside. I'm sure he's fine. Anyway, he does us a segment. And he's done us another segment. Again. What a champ. And we're going to cut to him now. So, Gavin, give a cheer for Keir.
What now?
No, wait for it. Now. What the fuck was that?
Slow motion chair.
Took it. I'll probably use that.
Circus of the Dead. First off, the title of this movie is amazing. It really lets you know what you were in for. It has clowns in it, and it has dead people. So it's kind of like a circus of the dead. When I finished this film, I mean, that realisation blew me away. I mean, it's up there with When Harry Met Sally, because in that film, Harry literally met Sally. And the film is about that time. Or Footloose, you know, about the song Footloose. I say down with titles like What's Eating Gilbert Grape, which features literally no cannibalism whatsoever. Or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which, come on, let's face it, it makes you start thinking before you've even pressed play. The world needs more Big Trouble in Little China, where, you know, there was some big trouble in Little China. Or I Was a Teenage Werewolf. Yes. Thank you. You were. Circus of the Dead. So good. Now, on to the movie, which opens with the John Wayne Gacy quote, "Clowns can get away with murder." And if the title hadn't given you a heads up of what is about to proceed here, well, surely you are in no doubt now. After a brief introduction to the townsfolk, we are straight in with the gore. And this is done with bloody splendid gusto, as we see a group of sadistic clowns torture a man in what appears to be a dilapidated dressing room. And it is here we first meet Papa Corn, the leader of the outfit, played with incredible conviction by Bill Oberst Jr. And boy, does he love a stapler. This performance has been likened to, or rather compared to, Terrifier's Art the Clown, which I feel is a bit of a lazy comparison and can only really be there because Art the Clown is the greatest horror clown ever created, followed by Captain Spaulding and Wrinkles. There is not a lot else similar here, really. I mean, yeah, they're both clowns, but that's about it. Where Art the Clown is quite obviously a psychopath, Papa Corn is more of a sociopath, knowing full well that the naughtiness he embarks on is evil and twisted as he switches from dastardly menacing comments to socially acceptable banter. This, by the way, is a stunning performance. By the way, clowns are the worst, aren't they? I mean, yeah, they're great for horror fans, but outside of that, does the job really exist? The only real-life clowns I've seen were in the documentary Capturing the Freedmans, and let's face it, that did very little to enhance their reputation. Does anyone know a clown? Honestly, like, if you do, please tell me. It must be the least revered job in the world.
Nobody likes you.
Like traffic wardens or chief medical officers. Nobody is leaving with a smile after you've said what you've got to say. Anyway, we are soon introduced to our main players here. Chanel Ryan as Tiffany Johnson, the archetypal scream queen, and who is as wonderful as ever, and Parrish Randall as Donald Johnson. Spoiler: her soon-to-be widowed husband. Parrish Randall will go on to not only rival Chanel Ryan when it comes to screaming, but I'd be surprised if he's not soon mentioned in the same conversation as Private Willem, the Shep Woolley-voiced Hollywood trademark screamer. Maybe it'll soon be the Donald Scream. Yeah, I like that, for a multitude of reasons, only one of them political. P.S. Yes, there is a lot of screaming in this movie. Like, a lot. Now, as previously alluded to, I'm not over familiar with the circus. You know, in real life. What do they do there? I was always under the impression it was about oversized men on tiny little bicycles going across a tightrope and jumping into tiny little bowls of water, or being fired out of a cannon. I was unaware of the fact that the typical audience member demands a lot of blood, which is on show here as they all whoop and holler as a bunch of clowns, led by one looking particularly Hitlerish, proceed to beat a man to near death and prod him with cattle prongs. I guess times have changed since Disney was in charge. Well, aside from the Hitler aspect. Allegedly. Now, I have to say, there are some truly horrendous moments in this movie, and I mean horrendous in a good way, if you like this sort of thing, which I do. The scene with Papa Corn up against the window as Tiffany Johnson gets her rocks off is truly grim. The mobile phone in the stump of the neck, the policeman being literally obliterated by a passing car, the literal loving. All moments of brilliantly executed low-budget gore. I do have one reservation, however. I am absolutely fine with violence in film. I can distinguish quite easily between the art and reality. Violence against anyone, apart from animals. I can't stand the violence against animals. I literally had to leave the room at the beginning of John Wick, and Tyrannosaur, and Red, and I basically reached an unquantifiable and unknown level of depression in Watership Down. So yeah, Violence against people doesn't really bother me. However, I do kind of like to know what I'm expecting if said violence is going to go over the top. For example, Last House on the Left. The synopsis literally alerts you to the fact that you're going to be witnessing some pretty horrific acts of violence against women. The same with I Spit on Your Grave, and the reputation of straw dogs precedes it. So, I was kind of taken aback by the amount of rape in this movie. It was somewhat unexpected. Although handled with fair characterisation and much of it occurring off-screen, I did feel it wandered a little too far into, we've got a woman here. What do we do with her? Well, I guess we sexually assault her. So maybe this review will help to serve as a little bit of a trigger warning. That being said, you do not go into a movie like this without expecting a certain amount of bombastic torture. Maybe I'm being a little oversensitive in my woke age, but no, I stand by it. Anyway, on the whole, this is a blinding debut by Billy Pond. Obviously comparable with Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects. I actually think it has some moments in it which could be considered alongside other cult classics such as Electra Glide in Blue and Streets of Fire. The cinematography here is actually some of the best I've seen in low-budget splatter. Billy Pond clearly has an eye for his art, and the awareness of his audience in the main is truly impressive. After finishing this, there is literally no way I wasn't going to go straight onto IMDb to find out what else he's been involved in. I just hope that some of his work and his future work will be a lot more readily available in the UK. Take note, Dread Central. Get it over to the UK. He deserves it, the crew deserve it, the entire cast deserves it, and we deserve it. Is this movie for everyone? No, certainly not. But horror never is. For me, however, I can imagine back in the days of VHS, if this movie had been released then, that tape would have been passed around all the bigger kids at school, until it had been whittled down to a wobbly nightmare, where that tracking feature on your video player would simply stand no chance. And I still would have begged and pleaded to get my hands on it. I even would have been willing to put up with a fair amount of bullying, just to be allowed the chance to sit in somebody's front room as their parents went out and this movie was clunked into the tape deck. And that is a sincerely heartfelt accolade that I bestow upon Circus of the Dead. The fact that I've seen this, well, it makes me feel like one of the cool kids. Laters.
So that was Keir Mills again. Thank you very much, kind sir. You're a walking legend.
Walking? You let him walk?
Fucking legend.
Did you say fucking?
Fucking. Yes.
I thought you said walking. A walking legend.
A walking legend. That would be silly.
I've heard that term before, a walking legend.
As opposed to what? A dead legend?
As opposed to a wheelchair legend.
I suppose.
Stephen Hawking, he was a wheelchair legend.
Fair enough. So, do your three clowns.
I'm doing my top 3 clowns. And here they are. Number 3, original Pennywise. It's been a while since I've seen it. By all accounts, apparently not a great film. But I remember it as a kid. Is good, and Tim Curry as Pennywise is good. I like the remake, or the first one. The second one's absolute dreck, but original Pennywise.
The original sequel, well, the original part 2 was pants as well, to be honest.
True, yeah, true.
But yeah, the remake of part 2 was probably worse. Just
yes.
CGI shit and terrible.
Ugh. Awful. I could go into why I hate that, but I haven't got time. Number 2, Stitches, played by Ross Noble. Leicester scene one. Good bit of a lark. And number 1, I can't even pick one clown from this, so I'm going for the whole posse. What do you think it will be?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. On crack.
Killer Clowns from not on crack. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
My top 3. Number 3. I'm going Papa Corn. I liked him. He was good. He was menacing. He was original. He was good. Number 2. Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. And then number 1. It has to be Pennywise, I think, from the original. With clowns in horror films, I like the clowns that look like clowns, if that makes sense. Like, you could imagine them actually being at the circus. So Art the Clown from Terrifier, you wouldn't see him at the circus. He had a strange shaped nose and he looked more demonic. I've never gone to the circus and seen a clown like Art.
It's only a nose, isn't it?
Yeah, but... and the teeth, he had like sharp teeth. He did not look like a clown. He looked like a demon clown. And I prefer my killer clowns to be a bit more authentic. So, what did you think of the film? Gavin, right, give us your opinions and rating.
Okay. I think that Billy Pond clearly going for a 70s grindhouse feel. There's not a ton of story here, and he clearly wanted to make a film that just kind of builds some horrendous, disgusting characters that go on a whole night of mayhem. And if you're going to make a film like that, you've really got to go for the mayhem. You've got to go for the sleaze, for the gore, and the characters. And I think he does all of that, and it all works really well. I mean, quite a lot of low-budget films attempt that and don't at all make it. But I think Billy goes for that, and he hits quite well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that you won't see in any other films, like having sex with a severed head with a vagina on it. I mean, I've seen sex with a severed head before. Stuff like High Tension or Switchblade Romance, as it's known in England, does that. I feel like I've seen it a couple of other times as well, but never with a vagina as a mouth. So it's like he's always going one step above. I've seen babies pulled out of stomachs, but I can't say that I've seen one with a clown playing with it nicely and throwing it up and catching it. And I quite like as well that he's going for that 70s aesthetic, but without setting it in the 70s, and definitely without putting fake film grain on it, which never works, especially with low budget stuff. And I mean, Bill Oberst Jr. is just fantastic as Papa Corn. I think they're all great. The little person, we didn't really bring him up too much, but he makes some great noises as well. He's got quite a lot of character without really being in it too much or having too much to do. But when he is there, it's great. And I liked all of them. All of them are great. And I think I'm going to give it... I'm torn between a 7 and an 8, but there isn't a ton of plot. So I'm going to go with a 7, but a very solid 7. There are my thoughts. The end. What about you? What do you think?
Me?
No. Storm.
Don't.
Nothing.
I mean, Gavin, I'm going to give you my thoughts instead of Storm's.
Go on then.
I enjoyed this. Much like you, I was worried a little bit when watching it, worried whether or not we'd like it. I think I would have been honest if I didn't like it. I'm too honest as a person. I would have just... I mean, I've said a few problems with the film that I've had, but they are small gripes. I mean, you mentioned as well a lack of plot. I thought there was enough plot here. I don't like films often where it's just effects and mindless gore and stuff. It needs an element of story, and I felt there was enough here. I liked the Loteria cards, and that added a whole nother layer to it with the choosing your victims and stuff. As you said, the performance from Bill Oberst Jr. as Papa Corn was brilliant. It's been a while since there's been a character as good as him as a antagonist in a horror film. I can't even think of a last one that would even compare. But yeah, he's brilliant. There were a few small gripes with the film, with the editing, the sound design. I felt the montage scene could have been fleshed out a little bit more. But I liked it. I enjoyed the film overall. And as you said as well, no, and same as you, I was also torn between a 7 and an 8. And I've still not decided whether I'm giving it a 7 or an 8. I was hoping I'd make my mind up whilst we were doing this review.
Do you want to think for a second? Because I got one thing to add.
Go.
Recently, there's been a film, I forget what year it was, Terrify. I think it's 2017. Terrify came out with Art the Clown. It's quite a similar feel to it. I mean, Art just goes on a brutal rampage, yet that seemed to hit with people and became something of a cult hit, whereas this didn't. But I mean, I really enjoyed Terrifier, but I think that this does what that attempts to do slightly better. I was going to say it's quite surprising that maybe this didn't hit, but I guess that comes from the distribution issues that Billy seems to have had with it.
Yeah, I mean, this was made like 8 years ago, but it was only self-distributed in 2017, and it's only been out in America since last year. So I think it is quite hard to see. Well, it was until fairly recently quite hard to see. And I think that most people who have liked it, most people who have watched it have liked it. I haven't seen a negative review.
I've seen quite a
really.
few, actually,
I have.
to be honest.
I've seen negative reviews, but they're all stating, "Oh, I didn't like this. It was too gory," or it was too extreme and too. There's no actual negative reviews.
People seem to be disliking it for the reasons that Billy has made it for, as an extreme
Exactly.
70s homage.
I mean, and that's not really a negative review. So I am torn between a 7 and an 8. I think I'm actually edging towards an 8. For what it is, it's an independent film. It's shot brilliantly. And most of the acting is good. There are a few characters, but it's an independent film. I mean, you have to judge it as an independent film, and it's good. It's very good. 8 out of 10 for me. So 8 out of 10 and 7 out of 10 equals 15 out of 20. 15 halved is 7.5. So this film, Circus of the Dead, gets an official CKFC rating of 7.5 out of 10. Which I think is fair. The only thing left to do is to pick next week's film. Because last week we didn't do a random draw, our number's a bit higher this week. We haven't had any new films entered. So if you're watching this, enter a film. You've got quite a high chance of being picked, because there's not that many in. We've got 28 entries. That's not 28 films. Each film has multiple entries. You get a new entry every week that your film isn't picked. So, number 1 through to number 28. What is your pick, Gavin Rye?
Oh, 17.
One day you're going to get this right, and I reckon it's going to be today. Let's hit the button. You were close. 15. And 15, Gavin, is... Have you heard of Trevor Webb?
Oh, God, not him.
Yeah, it's his film, From Dusk Till Dawn, from 1996. Great film.
Not seen that in a while, I suppose.
So that's what we will be watching next week.
Very good.
That Trevor Webb guy gets his films picked a lot, doesn't he? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, very odd.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. I love you. I love you. Goodbye, everyone. I love you. I love you. Please love me. I'm lonely. There's no one here. I told you that I had friends here, but I lied. There's no one here. There's never been anyone here. Hello? Hello? Watch some porn then, I guess. Watch what we got. Mature MILF. Once experienced. What's this?
This is what I'm gonna get.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, in the pussy. Oh. Oh.
This is the Cool Kids Film Club Podcast. Watch films with